All right, so we are approximately just a few days from the showdown. It is Wednesday, so we're approximately 2 days from the weigh-in, uh, and the fight is 3 days out. As I said before, man, I'm just looking for the fact that come Saturday, this will be over with for now, from the standpoint that a lot of this division and tension that has been caused and basically raised among us will at least temporarily be over. Look, at the end of the day, on Saturdays, nobody's going to be satisfied, no matter who wins. But like I said before, I mean, some of these people here now, they just then went beyond fanboyism to now they're trying to act like they're medical doctors and they trying to analyze, talking about look at dude's left thumb and look at the side, he's gonna go into that fight. I mean, people just make up stuff. I'm gonna say this, and this is just real talk. Terrence Crawford is, for the most part, pretty much going into that fight. Um, Probably 80 to 95%. Listen, no fighter is ever actually 100% going into a fight. Something is clinically wrong because at the end of the day, you're fighting for a living. So the wear and tear kicks in each fight after a while. And it also comes down to age. So, you know, but Terrence Crawford, for the most part, he's fine. So stop listening to these narratives and these fake videos about dudes acting like they medical surgeons and all this stuff. You know, some of these dudes, they didn't went from being managers and stuff and agents and promoters telling Terrence Crawford how much he should make and how much he should take. Now all of a sudden they're medical doctors. Okay, so what medical school y'all went to? It's just on the point to where these dudes are laughable. They're just making up stuff now, okay, to get views and stuff. And they're catering to a certain audience. Listen, there's a lot of dudes out here for some, I don't know, some apparent reason, which to this day I've been trying to figure out, that can't stand Terrence Crawford. So the more negativity they put out, the better it is for them. And this is what I'm saying. This is why I don't pay attention to these dudes that be hollering about they for black people and they for black fighters, because they constantly tearing down this black fighter. Listen, like I said, if you an Errol Spence butt boy, then fine. But just for God's sake, just keep it a buck. Just keep it a buck. Just say you want Errol Spence to win and move on from it. Like, stop playing these games and stuff. Like I said, now all of a sudden people putting up these fake videos talking about Terrence Crawford's medical condition and all this stuff. See, this is just real talk. This is how you end up getting sued and stuff. And this is why some of these dudes shouldn't be taken seriously. Now, we know it's documented that Errol Spence got a messed up eye. Now, that appears to be factual. But now all of a sudden people sitting up talking about so-called medical conditions from Terrence Crawford. Like I said, people just make up stuff. And I don't give a damn about people being mad. And to a certain degree, I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I mean, if you think somebody sneaked this, you go ahead, say my name in a video. I promise you I'll respond. Ain't nobody, like I said, I ain't scared of none of these niggas on the internet, man. And that's just real talk. Cause it just get to the point where now you just got people just reaching now. People just reaching now. Like, what medical, like now all that, see, people just love pushing out narratives to get views and likes. Like I said, I don't even see Canelo get this much hatred from the so-called black community. And this is what Goodfellas Sports was talking about. There ain't no black community. All this stuff. I'm tired of hearing these excuses about, oh, Terrence Crawford, he didn't do an interview with me and all this kind of stuff. Oh, man, he wouldn't talk to me. He said this happened. I mean, can you blame him? The more and more these people make these narrative pushing slander videos towards Terrence Crawford, they further justify why he doesn't talk to in particularly black media. How can you expect somebody to want to talk to y'all if y'all constantly sitting up here slandering his name? And stop making it look like this is some um um some good guy versus bad guy theme going into this fight. Both of these dudes is just fighters. They're just two black fighters. But all this stuff trying to make it look like Errol Spence is some kind of hero going into this fight is just complete BS. You can't be looked upon as no hero and really no role model, and you didn't have incident after incident outside of boxing, which a lot of people have elected to not talk about for the sake of not trying to slander and demonize this brother. Errol Spence didn't have more incidents outside of boxing than Terrence Crawford has. So, I mean, can we just keep it a buck and we stop doing this stuff? This just went beyond rooting for the guy you rooting for. Like I said, if you an Errol Spence fan, that's fine with me. But like, do you have to go beyond the call of duty to slander Terrence Crawford's name and demonize this man? Y'all worse than white people, and it just need to be said. And stop, like, for real. I just have to say this stuff. This stuff is just like ridiculous. I mean, it just went beyond ridiculous. It then went beyond. Y'all done made this stuff personal. Nah, it then went beyond like bias. It's hatred. But then these the same dudes that tried to insinuate Bud is a coon. Y'all seeing before y'all eyes who the real coons are, who have been the real coons going into this Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence fight for the past few years. Like I said, these personal slanders against this dude about what, you know, one coward ass nigga tried to put up a video insinuating things about Terrence Crawford's personal life. Well, actually, it was two. But, you know, one dude, he tried to have me involved in it. He tried to have me do his dirty work because he too big of a coward to put it out himself. And that's one of the reasons why he got mad, because I wouldn't do his bidding for him. Like, nigga, you ain't finna have me like doing your dirty work. You put it out. But don't try to come up here and use me. You, once again, you not smart enough. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I know that went on with Terrence Crawford and basically this smear campaign that was launched against him. Now, keep in mind, this was launched against him by his own community. And I guarantee you, when they do whatever happens, when they doing behind the scenes, or when they doing doing a documentary leading up to this fight, no matter who comes out on top, I guarantee you Terrence Crawford gonna say, hey man, I was visibly upset because I saw people from my own community attacking me. Like I said, y'all ain't even attacking Lomachenko like this. Y'all wasn't even attacking Lomachenko, but Lomachenko and Alexander Voslik was sitting up celebrating when Adonis Stevenson got put in a coma when he left that ring in a stretcher, in a coma. Y'all wasn't, where was the outrage for that? And that's what I'm saying. A lot of y'all wasn't even outraged when Robert Garcia said that racist stuff about that suspect, racist stuff about black people and black fighters. But we moved on from it. Y'all wasn't that outraged when Abel Sanchez said that black fighters don't sell. But every time I look around, y'all got Terrence Crawford's name in y'all mouth, tearing this brother down. Like, the hell wrong with y'all? Hey man, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna address that. I'm gonna address that soon too, cause I'm definitely gonna address that. Listen, man, I'm gonna just keep it a buck, cause like I said before, man, as far as they go, as far as that group go, I don't like a lot of them, and just like a lot, they don't like me, because I've always been kind of like an outcast. Because one, you had specific dudes that wanted you to be an Errol Spence nut hugger And when you wouldn't do it, they started getting attitudes like little chicks, saying little slick stuff. And once again, I don't know how many times I have to remind some of these dudes, ain't nobody scared of y'all. I'm not afraid of no nigga walking the earth. Cause I don't have to be. Like I said, I'm gonna address that real soon. Because like I said, you just have to call some things out. And I'm not debating nobody over it on no live debate, because like I said, at the end of the day, what's the use? Stuff that should have got resolved behind the scenes didn't get resolved. And it's to the point now, hey, I'm just cool on homeboy. Just like he cool on me. Which there's just some dudes, like I said, they don't like me. And I'm gonna say this again, I don't like them. And nobody, I'm gonna say this once again. My channel is a self-contained unit. I answer to nobody. I don't check in with nobody. I don't have no boss. I don't have nobody that I answer to. Nobody tells me what to put out on my channel. But I'm going to address that pretty soon. But this stuff, this slander that then went on with Terrence Crawford is just pathetic. And to be honest with you, it's heartbreaking to see black people condoning this type of behavior. At the end of the day, it's okay to say that you rooting for Errol Spence, but the personal slander, like I said before, and I got to be honest with you, it then got so bad to where the people that's affiliated with Terrence Crawford is despised. Why do you dislike Bomac? Bomac is a good dude, man. Now, before somebody come on here talking about, well, he called Errol Spence a alcoholic and all that kind of stuff. Yep. And they called them Uncle Toms. They called them Uncle Toms. They called them slaves. They called them all kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, it's okay for them to say something about them. It's okay for Spence and his crew and his affiliates to say stuff about personal stuff about Terrence Crawford and Bomac, which, by the way, Terrence Crawford never called Errol Spence a drunk. I need to give you guys some facts. He never called that man a drunk. But then here you go trying to talk this stay on code stuff with Bomac. Well, Errol Spence and them should have stayed on code by insinuating that Terrence Crawford was a slave with top rank. Can't have it both ways, or you can't have selective blackness. I mean, enough is enough. I mean, it's just to the point. I mean, like I said before, I'm afraid that Saturday after the fight is over, that something may happen because of all this. Because of all this division that's been caused by people putting up certain videos, slandering somebody's name and stuff. And now it's to the point to where people can't be fans no more. It's like some gang stuff. Oh, if you ain't down with Terrence Crawford, you're this. If you're not down with Errol Spence, you're this. Like I said, and this is black people doing all this instigating, like hoes, like chicks. And they not man or woman enough to say it. Well, I am. And like I said, if you want me to say your name, I'll say your damn name. And if you respond to me or if you text me or something like that, then obviously you think I'm talking about you. And obviously you're guilty of what I'm insinuating that you're doing on this video, because your self-conscious is kicking in because you know that's what you're doing. So if you don't respond to me, then you're not doing it. But if you respond saying, oh, why you sneak dissing me and all that kind of stuff, well, that means you're doing it. And I'm going to say this once again. I'm not saying people's names because I'm scared of them. Because it's like this. You guys know who they are. And I don't want to be accused of clout chasing. I don't want to be accused of clout chasing. First of all, I don't need this type of clout. To be honest with you, I don't want this kind of clout because I never wanted to get to the point to where you have all this flat out hatred And I mean, I go to various sites and I just see people calling this dude out his name and calling this dude out his name and this I mean, it's just like it's just appalling. It's just sad. It's just sickening to see this kind of stuff. Some of these dudes here are doing the white man's work. Some of these dudes is that dude on that movie Life who was holding the gun. I'm gonna keep him in line, boss. I'm gonna keep him in line. Some of y'all is just doing the white man's work, and that's just real talk. Some of y'all been acting like a bunch of, you know what I'm saying, a bunch of house niggas pertaining to this situation, and it just got to be said, and I just got to be blunt with it. You doing the white man's work, causing this division in the black community. We supposed to be celebrating two black brothers fighting, having the showdown of a lifetime that's gonna make life-changing money, but yet we got all this hatred. Oh man, if you did, I mean for real, man. You got people that literally stopped talking to me because I supported Terrence Crawford. Listen, I'm gonna keep it 100. I've always liked Terrence Crawford. Always been a fan, but I was a fan of Errol Spence too. But now it's got to the point to where now people, you know, some of the Terrence Crawford fans don't like Errol Spence because of the way these Errol Spence fanboys was attacking anybody that supported Terrence Crawford and trying to question your blackness. And some of these cornballs was actually trying to put that kind of material out. You'll be mad if somebody was questioning your blackness, said, "Oh man, if you ain't with Errol Spence, you some kind of sellout." But then again, I know how that feels because they did that to me. Some of these dudes did that to me. But I just wanted to tell, you know, one particular person, like I said, on the real, homie, I was never scared of you. So I don't know where you got the idea that somebody was scared of you, dude. Nobody's scared of you. All you got to do is say, please make a video saying my name so I can like ether your ass in the video, please. I want you to say my name in the video so I could ether your ass. I'm waiting for it. Bring it. That's all you got to do. Make a video insinuating that you talking about me, and that'll be enough for me to just blow you out the water and expose you on your hypocrisy. And like I said, once again, and then my thing is, why are some of y'all so worried about Terrence Crawford's personal life? How does it affect you? How does it affect you? How does it affect you? I mean, like I said, man, some of this stuff, man, that I done seen that went on, in particularly the last few years and behind this stuff, man, this it's just absurd, man. It's absurd. It started with that coward Fred, and then it trickled over to a few other people. But it was like 2 or 3 main people that was pushing this line, this anti-attack Terrence Crawford, elevate Errol Spence, and try to make it look like Errol Spence is some kind of martyr or something for the black community. Just stop it. Trying to make it look like Errol Spence is Malcolm X, and that couldn't be the furthest from the truth. But it just got to be said, man. It just got to be said, man. It just got to be said. I mean, people just now just making up stuff. People just making up stuff. I mean, I've just never seen this stuff. You had a lot of these clowns who don't even cover fights, don't even go to fight, sitting up here trying to dismiss every accomplishment Terrence Crawford has achieved in his boxing career. from saying he didn't fight nobody and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so if Terrence Crawford wins on Saturday, then what you gonna say? Did that include he didn't fight nobody? Because I'm just gonna tell you something, and one of my subs revealed this, which I already knew anyway. If the PBC roster is so good, how come they have a losing record against, other promotional companies when they do cross promotions? If they so good, if they the highest caliber of fighters, how come they have a losing record versus top rank? Which I already knew that in head to head matches. I'm just putting that out there. I'm just putting that out there. Now I didn't know the exact number, but one of the dudes that follow my channel yesterday, he put what the record was. He said they like 4-20 something, and it's gonna be possibly 4-20 something more after Saturday. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. So if these PBC fighters are so good and Errol Spence fought such stellar competition, then how come in outside fights they be losing? Can somebody help me with that? Can somebody help me with that? Can somebody help me explain that? If they so good, how come they got a losing record against top rank in cross promotional fights? I'm just saying, make that make sense. See, if I went on a national outlet, and like came with the exact fights since the inception of the PBC, I think in 2015, 2016, and basically started to run down fights for all these people that's sitting up saying Errol Spence fought the better competition and all this kind of stuff, that would shut all of that down. See, I do know this boxing stuff. And go ahead. I know it's somebody listening to this video that's gonna use this information and say that technically the PBC has a losing record versus top rank. And that's fine. Just make sure you give a kid a shout out. That's all good. I know some of y'all are content creators. That's fine with me. And I appreciate the love. But this information had to get put out there, man, because I'm just tired of the constant line. And I laugh at the fact that some of these goofy dudes that think because they go to the gym and show pictures of them working out and all this kind of stuff and videos of them working out, that's supposed to scare you. Doesn't matter whether you can bench 400 pounds. The thing is, can you fight? And actually, most people know those big muscle bound dudes that have all that muscle mass a lot, in all likelihood, they will run out of breath pretty soon trying to throw punches because they got so much muscle mass and they're losing energy and they're gasking. Because the same way you lose energy, the same way that you know what I'm saying, wear down, getting hit. When you throw a punch and you don't land, it's almost like shadow boxing. Even when you shadow, everybody knows eventually, you fatigue even shadow boxing. So you can just imagine being one of those muscle bound dudes that had them gigantic muscles. They trying to swing at you and they missing. That's why they try to grab you. You know how many of them dudes I done whooped on? And most of them gigantic muscle bound dudes can't fight worth shit. That's why they go to the gym. They try to use that as an intimidation tactic. But see, here's the thing. Nah, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'll just say I got a remedy for that. That's all I gotta say. I got a remedy for all them gigantic muscle bound gym rats. I got a remedy for that. But I ain't gonna say how to, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to give away my secrets. I know how to handle those kind of dudes. Doesn't matter whether you got a six pack or a gut. It just come down to skill and what you can do and what you've learned. That's all it come down to. Cause I done seen I know some dudes with pot bellies that'll like hurt you. That you wouldn't think could fight a lick. And I done seen them whoop on people. So all that gym stuff and showing pictures of you lifting up 130-pound dumbbells, that don't mean jack. Because trust me, I know how to neutralize you guys, and that's just real talk. What's hold on, I'll get to that in a minute. What's my thoughts on any new? Well, I did several videos about that. I did a couple of videos. I mean, at the end of the day, any new versus Tank. I mean, let me see. This is just real talk. It's getting to the fight game where now people are not. It's not fighting for legacy. They're not fighting for stature anymore. They're not fighting for pound. They're just basically fighting for money. Tank versus Inui, whatever his name is, however you pronounce his name, would be a high stakes, high profile, sanctioned exhibition match. Me, myself, I think Tank is too big for that dude. And I think he would be pushing it going up to 135 for Tank. I think if Tank is willing to maybe do a catch weight, you basically talking about Inanu going up like possibly 122. You basically talked about him going up. You talk about him going up like 13 pounds to fight Tank. So in all likelihood, Tank would be, when I say he would be a heavy favorite in that fight, he probably would knock the monster out. Tank probably would knock him out within 4 rounds if Tank is serious. But they may tell Tank to toy with him a little bit, make it look interesting. One thing about Tank can take a punch. That's been proven. Tank can take a punch. The problem is, can the monster handle getting hit by somebody like Tank? You know, there's levels to this stuff. And then here's the thing. Would Tank get credit for a fight like that? Probably not. Because you just gotta keep it a buck. Tank, now that Inanu is developing a huge fan base, which is fine. That's fine if people like this dude, because he is an excited fighter. But don't, because what I'm saying is, and I'm going to say something that a lot of people are afraid to say. If you want to become a fan of the monster, that's fine. But don't become a fan of him because you feel like you can rally behind him or make him your adopted great white hope. And I'm just going to say this. If you want to be a fan because of his skill set and how he fight, fine with me. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his. But don't become a fan of his because you feel like he can do what certain type of fighters can't do versus black fighters. And I'm just going to say it. What I'm saying is, don't become a fan of his for the wrong reason. If you just say, hey, I like this dude, but don't become a fan of his because you feel like you want to see him beat up on black fighters. Listen, he whooped on Fulton. I didn't want to, one thing that I set out that I refused to do, I didn't want to make this about race. I didn't want to bring that notion in going into this fight about any new having fought a slick black fighter. None of that, because I didn't want to do that. And everybody knows going into that fight, just like the first Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight, I didn't make this about race. The people that started making this about race was the people after Tyson Fury kind of like won the second fight. Then all of a sudden it turned into a racial thing. So at the end of the day, where they accuse black content creators or black channels of being race baiters, you started to see a lot of white people, a lot of white channels and a lot of coon channels race baiting. Listen, you don't have to bring up the slick black fighter thing. Okay. I just wanted to see the fight. But at the end of the day, Stephen Fulton, you gotta keep it a buck. You gotta keep it a buck. Not taking away any credit away from Inanu. Inanu was active. Okay. Stephen Fulton hadn't had a fight in over a year and 13 months. Okay. And the fact that he had, like eight knockouts. So I think Inanu wasn't that worried about him. Inanu had an advantage from the gate. He was more active than, and listen, like I said before, I'm not taking nothing away from the dude. I'm not taking nothing away from him, but this is factual. This is factual, you guys. You gotta you. This is factual. You know, this is just factual. So and Steve Fulton, for the most part, he didn't bring that up. He didn't bring that up. He didn't say, "Hey, I've been out of the ring for over a year." I've been out of the ring for over a year. Dude has been more active than me. And this, I only got eight. Not listen. This is real talk. You don't think Terrence Crawford, if Paulie Malignaggi was like, you know what I'm saying, a formidable opponent for Terrence Crawford, he wouldn't have fought Paulie Malignaggi and beat up on Paulie Malignaggi. Who was scared to fight Paulie Malignaggi? Paulie Malignaggi only tallied up less than 10 knockouts as a professional fighter. He had no power. He had no power. So that's why people would get in the ring with the dude, because he didn't have no power. I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably would, real talk. I probably would take the fade with Paulie Malignaggi. But the thing is, with me versus Paulie Malignaggi, it wouldn't be no boxing match. It would be a fight. And no, I'm not challenging Paulie Malignaggi to a fight. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm just basically trying to lay down and give you guys a vision. We have to keep it 100. I'm gonna say this once again. Inanu was very impressive yesterday. But, however, you have to take into account Fulton had been out of the ring for over a year. Because I was looking at Fulton in some of his earlier fights. He just wasn't fluent. I just seen some stuff. I seen hesitation. I just seen some stuff that I didn't like. And it just appeared to me that he got caught up in the moment. I think he was overwhelmed by fighting in Japan. And let's just keep it a buck. Can we be honest with each other? He fought in Japan. It was highly unlikely that he saw anybody that looked like him in that arena. And I'm just gonna keep it a buck. It was better that Steve Fulton got knocked out. And I know people are saying, what? Steve Fulton wasn't leaving that arena with no decision. There was no way they was going to let Steve Fulton leave that arena with a victory. So it didn't matter. It didn't matter whether he put on a boxing clinic. I just don't think he would have won that fight regardless. He had every disadvantage. That's why they gave him $3 million. But at the end of the day, he just was overwhelmed by, and I just think he just was overwhelmed by the moment. And I just think it got to him, and unfortunately, he ended up paying a stiff price for it. I just think He need to just relax, take some time off. I wouldn't even think about getting back into the ring. I wouldn't even go back to the gym till around. I wouldn't even go back to the gym till around October. He probably ain't even, he probably ain't even home now. He probably still on the plane. And if he isn't on the plane, he probably just got back home. Like I said, that's gonna be a very long flight. So there you have it. I mean, in the new, I mean, dude is like, dude hit hard. I mean, I wouldn't try to fight that dude, but if the dude squared up on me or something, yeah, I'm gonna defend myself. But I mean, dude is still a professional boxer. He still could hurt you. You know, I'm not gonna ever challenge no professional fighter to a fight, but it's one of them situations. I'll defend myself. I mean, if they push up on me, I'll defend myself any way necessary. See, it's a difference between a fight and a street fight. A street fight, you pretty much can do whatever you want. A street fight is damn near pretty much an MMA match. I'm talking about you can grab, you could put people in headlocks, you could use a little bit of martial arts, you could for real. But no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't try to fight any new. Wouldn't try to fight him. And I wouldn't try to fight Paulie. But I'm just saying, if Paulie pulled up on me and swung at me or something, I mean, yeah, then all bets are off. But I'm not challenging him to a fight or something. But I'm just breaking it down as a, you know, somebody in his line of work. You know, I'm just saying this about Cool Boy Steve. You just got to take all this into account. He hadn't fought in over a year. Um, just a lot of different things. I think the moment was just too big for him. Can you imagine you in Japan and you just seeing a whole bunch of people that you don't see on a regular basis that fill up a arena? Yeah, you're gonna see Japanese people, of course, in the States and everything, but just going into a arena filled with Japanese people, and no, and I don't mean it on some Nazi stuff like they, hate just, like it's some racist stuff like they were, you know, KKK members, but just seeing a whole bunch of people that don't look like you. You just got to keep it real. And I'm not saying that them Japanese people were racist towards him or nothing. I'm just saying he just in an arena with with just filled up with Japanese people, and he not used to seeing that. I could see a whole bunch of things that went wrong with him. Like I said before, he lost the fight, and a new one fair and square. At the end of the day, Fulton, he signed the contract. He signed the contract. So he agreed to go out there. But I do think he got caught up in the moment. I just think it overwhelmed him. Because that Steve Fulton that fought yesterday, very timid, lackadaisical, didn't look like he had his head in the game. So, like I said, and then I think he was surprised by how quick the monster was, and his power, and he was just like, "Whoa!" But at the end of the day, he got paid 3.1 million to go out there. I don't know how much is gonna be left after taxes. Probably after taxes and all that stuff, you probably gonna have like $2 million. So that's gonna be that was a nice payday. Then a new made like $10 million. So this is why they talking about Tank versus Inanu. They're saying Tank made like $40 million fighting. They said he made like $40 million fighting Ryan Garcia, and obviously Tank made some kind of bread because when Tank got home, Tank showed like him holding up like $1 million in cash, possibly. So Tank did very well. Now the problem I have with Tank and Ryan Garcia, should Ryan Garcia have made that type of money? And I don't mean to be pocket watching or nothing like that. I mean, if that's what he got paid, that's what he got paid. But you have to ask yourself, well, Who did Ryan Garcia beat to get a $30 million payday? Man didn't have no belt or nothing. And this is what I'm talking about boxing going in this direction. Basically, becoming basically just a popularity fight instead of fighting for legacy, trying to make the pound per pound list. This is why um, a lot of people don't have Tank on their pound per pound list because they want to see Tank fight more riskier fights. But if there's even a glimpse of Tank versus the monster, if they can set that fight up for possibly the tail end of 2024 or early 2025 or sometime in 2025, then they're gonna line Tank up with a whole bunch of dudes that they know for sure that he could beat. And Tank already said he would take the fight, but he already know that he would be too big for any new. But the problem is when Tank fights him and he knocks him out, will Tank be respected for that victory? And I know a lot of people will despise Tank who ain't really boxing fans to begin with. Tank will be despised, especially if he knocks him out and if he brutally knocks him out. So that's just basically it. Yeah, well, I know they call it prize fighting, but at the same time, the prize come along with you fighting the best of the best. Well, that's how it used to be. Used to get rewarded for being a guy that's willing to fight the best of the best, win, lose, or draw. But now it's like um, I want to take the Floyd Mayweather route. Fight good dudes, but fight dudes in all likelihood I can beat. Floyd really, when he became Floyd Money Mayweather, he stopped taking what you would call risky fights. I mean, there were a couple of in between, but I have to admit, what fight, let's just keep it 100. What fight that Floyd had after he became Floyd Mayweather that he wasn't like a overwhelming favorite. Even the Manny Pacquiao fight, he was like kind of what you would call an overwhelming favorite. So everybody want to take that formula and everybody want to be Floyd Mayweather. People ain't looking for tough fights. Yes, Floyd made monumental money. But at the same time, in retrospective, yeah, Floyd fought great competition. Or should I say he fought good competition. But there were some fights in between. You just was wondering how they would have turned out had Floyd took them. Now, Paul Williams ended up getting knocked out by Sergio Martinez, but you have to wonder, when Paul Williams was fighting at welterweight, Floyd versus Paul Williams would have been a hell of a fight. But then that would have been such a risky fight for Floyd, because Floyd's whole persona was selling that undefeated, selling his undefeated record that nobody could beat him. And like I said before, along the way he fought decent competition. He did. You can't take that away from him. He fought a lot of former champions, but then in between, there were some fights that you kind of wondered should Floyd have took. I think Floyd should have took the Keith Thurman fight. But then there was also this thing that him and Al Heyman came up with that they didn't believe in fighting black fighters. Floyd just didn't like fighting a lot of black fighters. And that's factual. Floyd, Money Mayweather, that is, he just didn't like fighting black fighters. He fought Berto. He knew he could beat Berto. Now there was talk that if Berto would have beat uh, Victor Ortiz in that first fight, he would have went on and fought Berto. But if you look at Berto's style, Floyd would have been able to beat him no matter what, because Floyd is a thinker. He a thinker, and Floyd see how fights would turn out. I think he was surprised by that Miguel Cotto fight, even though I thought that was one of Floyd Mayweather's best performances. I watched that Cotto fight like all the time. That was one of Floyd's best performances. That was one of his best for. I watched that Canelo fight, but at the same time, Canelo asked for that fight, and I'm not gonna use that fight as well. Canelo was too green or nothing like that. Nah, Canelo just got whooped on, and that's just the bottom line. But then that was Floyd's moniker, fighting a whole bunch of Hispanic fighters. In all likelihood, that we knew Floyd Mayweather would beat. You know, Floyd never considered once giving Sean Porter a shot, giving Keith Thurman a shot, because it would have been interesting to see how Floyd would have done against those dudes. But you have this whole persona that Floyd is this dude that's just, and at times when you watch Floyd fight, Floyd did look unbeatable. But at the same time, it comes down to the matchup. Comes down to the matchup. But then again, on the flip side, Floyd Mayweather was a thinker. His boxing IQ was was a testament of how you supposed to be a thinker in the ring as well as fighting on instinct. So, you know, just got to put that out there. Well, that's gonna always hurt Floyd, and that's gonna be something that's gonna follow Floyd the rest of his life. And I know Floyd has ran away from this subject, but Floyd eventually he's gonna have to address this eventually on why he didn't want to give like black fighters a chance, and he can't just sit up there and say, "Well, I fought, Miguel Cotto or Andre Berto," because that's just not gonna fly. Or Sugar Shane Mosley. We're looking at in between, you know. And I know he gonna say they had belts and all that kind of stuff, but then to counter that, Floyd, you could say to Floyd, "Well, how come you never tried to become undisputed at any other weight class you fought at?" And Floyd, like I said, eventually Floyd is gonna have to address that. Because one thing that's gonna hang over Floyd's head is people gonna be like, "Well, damn, Manny Pacquiao fought Keith Thurman at age 40, and you know you didn't. You elected to fight Conor McGregor, a dude that never had a professional boxing match in his life." But yeah, man. That was the thing. Floyd fought like dudes that he knew would stand in front of him. Floyd didn't fight a lot of athletic fighters. It was it was because it complemented his style for him to fight like a bunch of come forward, stand still guys. Floyd didn't like to fight athletic fighters. So, I mean, you got to take that into account. It's kind of like those Chicago Bull teams from the 90s. you know, you have to look and see, people talk about, the rule changes and how those Chicago Bull teams would have fared against Some of these teams, like in the 2000s and stuff, when they started to like make it easier to score, when they started getting rid of man to man defense and stuff, and they started playing zone defense, I think they would have struggled because for the most part, the Chicago Bulls were like the number one offensive team. But like I said, I told this to Too Raw, and I'm gonna end the video and come back later on. One of the things that I did not like about those NBA games, especially, and I know a lot of y'all remember those NBA games from the '90s and the mid '90s to the early 2000s, like when Michael Jordan retired for the second time and till he came back and played for the Wizards. Some of those games were unbearable to watch. I just got to say it, especially the lack of offense. I mean, I thought that was absurd when you was having games. They had a lot of games in the NBA where you had a whole, and I know some of y'all remember when I talked about those 79 to 78 games. I know now the average game is damn near 125 to 121 now. But man, some of them damn basketball games in the 90s, them 81 to 79 games, those some of them were unbearable to watch because it was just a little too much defense. You know, everybody liked to see shot blocking and steals and all that stuff, but then a lot of those dudes, I mean, like I said, you want to see some buckets as well. So some of them games were just unbearable to watch, and I just got to keep it a buck, man. The reason why Tim Bradley already said the reason why Floyd versus him didn't happen, but Tim Bradley, he didn't help his case where he was asked, well, if he got a fight with Floyd Mayweather, he wouldn't know how to fight him. And Tim Bradley, that kind of hurt him when he said in a live interview, he said, well, I don't know how I would fight Floyd Mayweather, but I think Floyd Mayweather versus Tim Bradley would have been a hell of a fight, due to the fact that Floyd wasn't accumulating a lot of knockouts at 147, and Tim Bradley didn't have a whole bunch of knockouts, period. Tim Bradley just didn't have, and you would think, looking at Tim Bradley, you would think that Tim Bradley would have been knocking out everybody the way Tim Bradley was built, but Tim Bradley, for some reason, he just didn't accumulate a lot of knockouts. I don't know if it was the fact that he didn't sit on his punches sometimes, but you just look at Tim Bradley when he fought, you'd just be like, man, this dude should have like, I mean, for real. And Tim Bradley discussed that Floyd and him discussed having a possible fight, but Tim Bradley said that Floyd didn't seem like he was really that serious about the fight. Tim Bradley said, hey, you know, send me, like a down payment and we'll find a way to make it happen. But I think at the time, I think Floyd Mayweather was dead serious about not fighting anybody attached to Top Rank. But at the end of the day, Floyd had no choice but to fight Manny Pacquiao, because once he realized that Manny Pacquiao was going to remain at Top Rank for pretty much most of his career, he had no choice. And Floyd got to the point to where he was like, hey, I got to fight this dude. It's just too much money on the table. I know I don't want to put no money in Bob Aaron's pocket, but I got to make this fight. So Floyd was kind of stubborn, but, it is what it is. But anyway, appreciate you guys tapping in. I'll be back with more later on. Out.